Okay, welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us. We're speaking with High Chief Anabs Sarah Igbe, and he's been giving us his impressions on what needs to be done to keep the Niger Delta in its most optimistic, or shall we say, its best state. Now that President Tinubu is in charge, he's at the head of government. And he spoke about, because you spoke, Chief, about some of the issues, oil theft, among others, I wanted to ask you about the removal of fuel subsidy. And you can see what is going on now. So it'll be good in passing, if not sort of in passing, to hear what your thoughts are on the removal of fuel subsidy, especially as we have been hearing that a lot of our fuel has been stolen anyway. Give me your impressions there.
Thank you very much. My opinion on the fuel subsidy is that Mr. President was too quick in moving into the removal of subsidy. I look at it as a banana peel that he moved in, and rather than trying to look at the economics of fuel pricing is going up every day. The former president set the tone for Mr. President by saying he will remove fuel subsidy in July this year. But Mr. President was very quick in announcing fuel subsidy from May 29th, and that has caused a lot of hardship on Nigerians. If I will advise Mr. President, what thing he should do is to stop this idea of exporting our crude oil to a foreign land, and they produce it, and they bring it back and sell us fuel. Dangote refinery has been commissioned, and we believe they are good enough to go. But we are also hearing they are giving license to import petroleum product instead of refining product. We also have our refineries. The three refineries, Port Harcourt, we understood, has been rehabilitated, and Warri Refinery is in the process of rehabilitation. If that is the case, what I would love Mr. President to do is to look in depth into fuel subsidy, because for the past 2-3 years, NNPC has been the sole importer of petroleum. And so government is the sole importer of petroleum, so we don't know who is taking the subsidy. 2, subsidy. Why subsidy? Why not subsidize the price of our crude locally? Work with NDDC, work with Niger Delta, so that you will get the more than 3,000 barrels of crude oil. The 2.4 million barrels of crude oil is going through OPEC should be given their international price, while the remaining maybe 1,000 barrels of crude oil or thereabout should be given the Naira price to the local refineries. And if the local refineries are getting crude oil in Naira price and they are producing locally, they have created employment for Nigerians, and as well they can be able to peg that price. Because if you continue to increase fuel, it will affect all segment of the economy, and the poor will become poorer while the rich will become richer. This biting very hard. The palliatives they are bringing is not substantive enough to take care of the high price of fuel. And so the fuel is the key. It's like the blood in the human body. It affects all segments. The food supply, the everything you talk about is centered on transportation, centered on the fuel price. So the economic team should quickly look at these issues critically by working with Niger Delta, particularly the Niger Delta Ministry, the NDDC, and the amnesty program, so that the oil theft will stop and we can be able to meet our open quota, thereby making more money for Nigeria, as well as selling our part of the crude oil in the Nigerian refinery at a Naira price and peg it so that exchange rate factor will not come to play. The issue of freight will not come to play. The issue of double handling, port charges, custom charges, all these things will not come to play, and other logistics involved in the in and out of crude oil of Nigeria. So if we are producing our own crude oil here, we are refining it here, and we are supplying to Nigeria here, I think the price will drastically come down. That is what we're supposed to do to make sure we have a stable price in Nigeria.
Indeed, it very well might come down, but the issue is we don't quite know when the Dangote refinery, even though it's been opened, is actually going to be ready for business. That's what we're hearing. I haven't personally been into that facility before. So apparently there still is, they're still crossing their T's and dotting their I's in that regard. So that happy day hasn't arrived when those things that you are talking about might well come into play. But the other thing, of course, is that the palliatives, although I'm not sure that presidential spokesman Dele Alaki likes that word. Let me use intervention instead. The interventions that have been promised, I've been hearing that now they are going to be reviewing the magic 8,000 naira figure. Give me your thoughts on that. That government following, listening, and commentary that's going on. It's now reported that they actually are reviewing, or they've served notice that they would be reviewing the nature of their intervention. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, like I said, the president was pushed into a boo-boo trap, and he did not do his proper analysis before taking steps. First of all, if government was not deceiving the public, why will they commission Dangote refinery when it is not ready? It gave us hope that Dangote refinery is ready to produce, and we all applauded that decision. So for the former president to commission Dangote refinery is too sad. Then secondly, they talking about the palliatives or the whatever
the interventions
they are taking. How will they comprehend it? The interventions. You see, I used to fill my tank with 18,000, 19,000. Today, 50,000 cannot fill my fuel tank. The fuel price has increased from 189 to almost 600 naira. That's 3 times the cost. And how many Nigerians can afford to be burning fuel? It's going to affect industry, commerce, everything. So Mr. President is in charge. He should be able to assemble the team. MIP is getting his ministers to the National Assembly, but he should get a proper economic team to really study some of these things before they are made public, because his name is at stake. And we believe that if he can turn Lagos State to paradise, he can also turn Nigeria to paradise. So we want to see that magic wind in him, and not to encourage things that will bring hardship to us before we see the heaven. We don't need to pass through hell to heaven. We want to see that Mr. President do what he has meant. His good intentions should be really followed. We like him, but this hardship is becoming too hard on Nigerians. All being equal, we will encourage him to ensure that the refineries are up to date and they are doing well, including the Dangote refinery that the federal government is a shareholder, so that we will not buy fuel in a very high price. We are producing oil, and we are suffering. The Niger Delta is getting the brunt of oil production. Our environment has been polluted, our traditional occupation has been destroyed, our ecology has been destroyed, and we had hope of good governance. So if it has come, let the palliative be in form of how to create employment, how to make more money for people, let the industries be there, making the price of goods and services to be cheap. Not fuel price going up and every other thing is going up. It's not in the interest of the Nigerian public. So we appeal to him to be able to get the refineries working and also create more employment opportunities for Nigerians by way of attracting investment into Nigeria.
Indeed. And I recall, well, first of all, as you know, like it or leave it, as Mr. President said on that day of his inauguration, it's gone. Fuel subsidy is gone simply because the country couldn't afford it, no matter the intentions. Now, it's gone, but everybody is now looking, everybody's quite stunned, I would imagine. Yes, they knew it was going to be tight, but what we're hearing now is that some people actually are now having to trek, and all of that is where it's at. So it's gone because, as the managing director of NNPC was explaining yesterday, I believe that, look, this is what you get when you let it be at the behest of market forces, which I understand that in the best wisdom has to be the case for now. But when you look at the other opportunities, because this is about, when you look at the other opportunities, Mr. President, you can't hear us anymore. That's the problem.
Okay, you're coming now.
Okay.
I'm not hearing you again.
Well, I wasn't saying anything, but I am speaking now. Can you hear me now? I am speaking now. Okay. Well, if you're hearing me now, let me just try. You're talking about the nature of interventions that are going to be most useful, will be jobs. If you can get a situation where this administration is able to create many more jobs, that would help out a lot. Because apparently I understand that fuel subsidy is gone. The president said so. It is gone, and so we can't revisit that, unfortunately. Well, maybe I scratch that word. I suppose we have to, quote unquote, grow up and know that, well, we can only consume what we produce. And this thing that we are producing, this oil, painful as it is now, if this is the time that we're doing it, we didn't do it 8 years ago, well, we're going through pangs, birth pangs. There's a sense in which, do you appreciate them when they say that they really are appealing to people to be understanding that they see their pains and that they are working around the clock to address those pains, even as they have said that the 8,000 naira we were talking about before is now up for review? It's like, can you see it from their point of view as well?
Well, we appreciate the government effort in ensuring that we have a prosperous Nigeria. At the same time, Nigerians must also communicate with government. We have serious unemployment deficit in Nigeria. And so if government can be able to create employment opportunities and give people good pay, when you have money, you don't care how you spend it. So when there is job and there is money, people will spend and they will not complain because the money is there to pay. But when you don't have the power, the demanding power to say you can afford to buy, it means something is wrong. So we will appeal to Mr. President, in as much as his good intentions will be, to say, look, find a way with the economic team, with his ministers, of creating job opportunities. Nigeria have a lot of potentials to become great if we can put our experiences together and place them in industrializing the country. The country needs to be revitalized industrially so that every home can be able to do something. If people are doing something and they are selling whatever they are producing and they are making money, you can take fuel to any height. Nobody will complain because there will be money to pay. But where there is no job, where there are no opportunities for people to make money, and your prices are increased on a daily basis, it means the whole economy will be in trouble. But okay, if there are alternative or whatever you call it, and people are having money from sources, other sources, there are job opportunities here, the ports are working, like in the Niger Delta today, our ports are moribund. I used to be a dock worker sometime when I was growing up, but today the dock industry is dead. Everything is going to Lagos and we're having a lot of due going on. If they can allow these ports in the Niger Delta to also take part in the port activities, our port will be active and so many things can go on. And where there is money, nobody will complain. But where there is no money, I'm afraid everybody will complain. That is where we are now. Subsidy is gone, yes, but what is replacing it? We have to get something to replace it. What to replace it should be industrializing the country. Indeed. To create employment and wealth for the country. As soon as we do that, our children are employed. They will not depend on the parents anymore. Graduates of 10 years, 5 years, 6 years are unemployed, and so many people are not employed. Teach us how to catch the fish, and we'll know how to, we will not bother you. Don't dash us fish. We don't want fish to be dashed to us. Let Nigerians know how to make money. Let us go into full production. Nigeria has been in service. Service is no longer going to be helpful with this issue of fuel subsidy going. We must go into productive activities. So government should lead us the way, show us the way, and give us the support. The financial institutions should also support production. Then they must also improve on power, because without power, there will be no production. So if power is improved and there's production, I don't think anybody will complain about subsidy.
You know, yeah, thank you, Chief. When President Tinubu was, over there earlier, just before he became president, he was talking about, and you've also spoken about some development where at the ports, there are no ports there, it used to be there, and he was talking about aluminum smelting. Are there any, tell me about the other potential industrial areas that can be developed. President Tinubu himself mentioned aluminum smelting when he was there. Are there other areas of potential?
Well, of course, the oil smelting company has been a controversy for some time between one of us, Dr. Jaja, and the Bureau of Public Procurement. Dr. Jaja won the bid to run the aluminum smelter, but there are a lot of litigation over that place. President should intervene so the aluminum smelter in the Karabasi should be productive. That alone will create a lot of employment in the Niger Delta. Then we're talking about industrial devolution. For you to talk of industrial devolution, you must talk about steel and aluminum. The moment you have steel and aluminum, you can improve your production line. So we have Ajakuta has been idle, despite how many billions of naira that has been wasted in that place. We have sunk in so much money in Ajakuta. So Ajakuta should be made to work. Whichever way they can make it work, let it work. Whichever way they can make it aluminum smelter to work, let it also work. We need employment, we need production in Nigeria. Let us also export aluminum. Let us also export, steel. Then we have a lot of solid mineral in this country. Every part of Nigeria is blessed with all kinds of solid minerals. We need to explore all these solid minerals and make them useful to Nigeria. We cannot think of oil and gas alone. We have a lot of, God bless Nigeria with several mineral resources. Mr. President should set up a committee. The solid mineral should be taken serious. Investors should be invited into it so that we can continue to produce. Look at the tiles we are importing. We have the raw materials here. We have been able to stop importation of cement because we have the raw materials here. We have gold. We have all kinds of aluminum. Even so many minerals that we can be useful to us, we can export, that will give us billions of dollars. These things are not very nice. So if we can encourage investors to come and we also look into it, I think that will go ahead to encourage the resource control or fiscal federalism we're talking about. Until Nigeria goes to fiscal federalism, we will not be what we're supposed to be. There will be no competition among the states. There will be no competitions among us. But when we go into fiscal federations and we are able to devolve that devolution of power to the local level, then we can see every part of Nigeria will be busy making money. We will be busy doing production. We will be busy creating employment opportunities. We will be creating wealth for everybody. And we will not talk about subsidy, neither will we complain about how we get jobs. Because we have the potentials to create jobs in Nigeria, but we have not been able to harness it. So we have to harness it in such a manner that every part of Nigeria will be busy and will be industrial centers across the country. Okay.
You've also had reason to complain about the deployment of the 13% derivation that your region traditionally gets. Are you unhappy with that? Because whereas they were trying for a higher percentage, even the one that is there, we've seen the way some governors in the area have used it, and but give me your impressions on whether or not such incomes have been, in your opinion, well deployed.
Well, the people of Niger Delta are not too happy, particularly the oil-bearing communities are sad with the way and manner some of the governors uses the 13% derivation. 13% derivation is meant for the development of the oil-bearing communities, and that is not the case in most cases. Particularly Rivers State, for example. I have challenged the governor of Rivers State to show Nigerians which oil-producing community has it developed. Which of them has it developed? None. Look at Obaigbo and Donny, Moko, that was developing is dead. Bonny is not doing well compared to the amount of money that passes through Bonny to the international market. The oil-bearing communities, those who are producing oil at all, nothing is happening there. Like I said, we are still not having water, common water to drink, no electricity. Some of us cannot be linked to national grid. And if you cannot link to national grid, what is wrong in government providing generators and diesel or petrol for these communities to enjoy light? You can see a flow station having light, the next community to it less than 5 kilometers is in darkness. You can see the life we live in Niger Delta. Some of us still live in squalors. We are living in thatch houses. You can see what is happening in Ayotoro now, in Ogun State. The Ayotoro community is submerging. And this is a major oil producing community, and nothing is happening. Yet we are having 13% derivation. Look at River State. The places like Mile, places like Andoni, Kola, Edama, Soku, where we have the gas depot. Nothing is happening there. No single development, no road, nothing is happening in those areas. And you're saying you are taking 13%. If you give them 13% of their production, tell me how would they develop? They will develop into cities. These things are not done. So we are not happy. Okay. But that notwithstanding, better governance will come. The way we have a better MDDC executive. If things are given to the Niger Delta, if we are given our fair share, we have moved the revenue to 50-50, I think better governance will come that will really use it to develop the Niger Delta. Niger Delta is part of Nigeria. If Niger Delta is developed, Nigeria is also developed. Look at the Niger Delta. Like
We're going to have to leave it there, Chief.
Is having the Atlantic Ocean. We have a lot of communities in the Niger Delta.
Yes, I'm sorry. We're going to have to leave it. I can hear you, but we're going to have to leave it. We're going to have to leave it there because we've run out of time. But, you know, this has been very useful because you've pointed out to Nigerians areas that still need attention, serious attention from the incoming administration. So I want to thank you very much, Chief, for making time for us this morning. We've been speaking with elder statesman, former spokesman of Pan-Niger Delta Forum, national coordinator of the South-South Leadership Forum, High Chief Anabs Sarah Igwe. Once again, thank you very much for your time today.